Hey everyone, this is Farel Dalrymple and the next set of daily drawings that I've been doing all year, 2020, 2020, 2020. There might have been an extra 20 or two in there, but yeah, so the first, this is drawings 181 through 199. So we got 18 or something like that. I'm not sure math-wise, but the first one we have, the first four actually are all for the same fella. There's characters that he created called the Power Pals, and he wanted two shots of them as young, I guess like teenage fighters, you know, when they were in their prime, and then two shots of them as older dudes that were trying to put on the costumes again. So the first two, I tried to get these sort of like exaggerated poses of them. I didn't really know much about the story or anything, so I just kind of thought like, oh, this guy's the more brash, kind of impetuous one or something, and the other one's kind of more the, I guess, kind of calmer and more of a thinker or something. I don't know. So I just kind of based this pose off, you know, kind of exaggerate it more and kind of give it some energy and stuff. And this guy is still like tried to be a little dynamic. Actually changed his fist there from going up to kind of more at his side, like he was getting ready to charge someone rather than punch someone. He's just kind of on the balls of his feet, you know, like ready to pounce. Yeah, and so as usual, I draw these in pencil first, and that takes me the longest, and I don't usually record that part. Then ink them either with a Faber-Castell Pitt pen or a brush, a Raphael brush. And these ones, I've been doing all the tarot cards with the brush, so these I kind of enjoy switching it up and drew these with a pen. And here I'm just erasing the little pencil lines because I left their insignia in the background. I left it in pencil, so I just tried to get the cleaner pencil. And the idea was to have these side by side with each other. You can see there. So I had to do the one on the right first, so it shows up on Instagram that way, back to back, which is a lesson I learned first time I tried doing like two side-by-side images, like a diptych, I guess is what you'd call that. So here they are as old guys, and so my hair's in the way a lot there. My pre-shower hair. It's like, I think at this point I was still doing these in the morning. Lately I've kind of been slacking off and just doing them whenever throughout the day. But yeah, I actually use ink on these. I'm using reference, the one I did the previous day or the two previous days prior. I did do like an ink wash first. And looking at this now, I kind of wish I had added some more darks to his costume, but it's kind of like, oh, it's old and it's kind of faded in the wash, I guess. You know, it's like, I tried to make them look a little like shrunk too, like they've been, you know, kind of don't quite fit as well. Should have made them a little more baggy in hindsight, like, or in certain parts it was a little more baggy because they probably lost some muscle mass, and definitely made their poses less dynamic, more kind of hunched over, and you know, still got some skills, but you know, as age, you know, takes its toll on all of us. Yeah, so those are the Power Pals. The next one up, someone asked me to do a Kurt Vonnegut character, Tremalfadorian from Slaughterhouse-Five and some of his other books, and so I did a little portrait of him there in the corner too, just to make it a little more fun. And big fan of Kurt Vonnegut too. I like that guy a lot. His writing, I never met him personally. This next one, someone asked me to draw a vinyl record player blasting some punk rock tunes. And then I think later they amended it and asked me, they told me that I could put a character in there, the scientist from Proxima Centauri. And because I guess his hair was kind of punk rock to them. So that was cool. I could totally see the scientist that character listening to some Minor Threat and Bad Brains. So I put those records in the bottom there. You can see the Bad Brains is kind of sitting underneath the record player, which are floating. Because in the comic, he always has like stuff floating around him, like tools and screens and things like that, while he's working on his robot body that he eventually assumes he actually uploads his brain or whatever into his robot body at the end of the book. So sorry, spoilers, but you see in the Wrenchies, that's how he is in the Wrenchies, which came out years prior. Even though it takes place years later, he's in this big robot golem type body that he made himself, and he talks about how he did that. So there wasn't any big like surprises or anything. But yeah, so this was like fun to draw the scientist, because he's one of my favorite characters of mine, and I enjoy drawing figures way more than just inanimate objects like record players and stuff. But I do like records. I don't have one anymore. I don't have a record player anymore, but yeah, I'm pretty happy about the way that came out. And the next one up is a next tarot card, the High Priestess. And this was another request. I think I'm at the end of the requests currently. So I'm 3 behind too. I think I have to do, or to catch up, I'd have to do 3 today, which probably won't happen, but I'm going to try to do 2. And as soon as I post this video on my Patreon, I'm going to post the sketches, the next 2 that I'm doing on there. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can claim them. I mean, you still have to buy them. They're $20. It's pretty cheap. I think it's pretty cheap. I know it's all relative, but for the amount of time it takes me, it's, kind of almost unreasonably inexpensive. But anyway, so yeah, this one is the High Priestess. I'm not super familiar with any tarot cards before. This was just kind of it seemed like my old studio mate, Violet Aveline, who's an amazing painter. She did a tarot set last year, and it kind of inspired me to like want to do. I think someone had maybe requested a tarot card a while back, and I was like, oh, I should do a whole tarot deck while I'm doing these daily drawings, rather than trying to like rack my brains on what to draw or take requests. So yeah, that was the High Priestess. Next one up is the Moon, which technically I'm still not finished with. Even though I posted on Instagram and everything, I kept posting it and then seeing like, oh, I didn't really finish that and this and that. And this one and the last one, the High Priestess as well, I kind of stuck to more the traditional tarot, what it looks like in the real card, rather than adding science fiction elements and fantasy elements to it. Although I should try to make the background a little more my style, I guess. And the moon, I changed it from just a regular man in the moon to like this more subtle face, kind of looking down sadly or disapprovingly. So there you can see like the little changes I made in it after I posted it. And I still have to add the dewdrops, because I kept forgetting to do that when I would revise it. So it's sitting on my artboard right now, waiting to be revised. But like I said, I'm a little behind on stuff. This one too, is pretty traditional, the world. I just looked, for all these, I pretty much go on Google and look up what the card looks like. I don't even have my own tarot set or anything. Although I would like to get one, I just don't want to get just like a generic one. I want to get like a nice one. But yeah, and then I look in the Wikipedia too for the description, for like the symbols and the meanings. And the last 3, I just decided just like keep kind of closer to what the traditional one looks like. And this one, Judgment, I decided to kind of go off a little bit from the normal design, added some more like stuff from my stories, like these Nephilim creatures rather than just a typical angel. Same with this, the Empress. I decided to be like, oh, you know what? I want to just draw like, I don't want to do their, whatever the traditional look of the Empress is. I want to give her kind of make up a story about. So I had this kind of like idea of like, the Empress of Oz or something, And I remember on reading the description, one of the decks, she was described as a green woman. So I decided to go with make her skin color green and have these kind of floating emerald looking, crystal looking things in the background, and turned her throne. She sits on a throne. It turned it into this kind of like, science fiction-y looking chair, like the character in the Jack Kirby New Gods that rides like that Moebius chair. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. It's like sort of like a time traveling or space traveling chair she sits on, and just kind of made up this little bit of a story about her in my mind, which I'm not 100% recalling at the moment, but I might write her into something if I do more stuff set in like the It Will All Hurt Wrenchy's world, which I plan on doing at some point. Same thing with this one, the Knight of Swords. Someone requested I do the Knight of Swords tarot on my Patreon, and this one it was like pretty basic. It was like a knight riding a horse, so I was like, oh, I'd like to not draw that. I'd like to draw a science fiction-y looking, fantasy looking thing, so I turned made the knight a female, gave her like a robot bug steed with a sword, it's like I love drawing people with swords, and get this like crow helmet thing, and that one probably deviates the most from the traditional looking tarot that I've done so far, I think. While still keeping the spirit of it, hopefully anyway. This next one up is the Drawbridge character from one of my favorite comics by Rick Remender and Jerome Opena. It's called Seven to Eternity. And this guy is pretty badass. He's only in the first 2 issues, or first 2 or 3 issues anyway. But he like cranks this thing and his mouth opens up, and it's kind of like a teleportation device for the rest of the team. It's pretty awesome. So this one, someone asked me to draw a camera, and they said I could do any character and put it in anything, and it didn't really matter. It's a gift for their son. So I just decided to draw like a cool looking camera that I just got off Google Image Search, and I put Robot Todd in the background, and there you go. This one here is another tarot card, and I'm having trouble reading. Oh, Death. Yeah, this is Death. So Death and the Devil, both requested by the same person. So we're coming to the end of our group here of things. And this one, I pretty much went with the. Oh yeah, I'm working on a mind management page there. It's the comic series that I've been working on in between doing these things. And so I pretty much went with the traditional look to it, except that I removed all the like religious figures and decided to, it just felt too cluttered. So I just added some skulls and stuff that he's like trampling on the ground, rather than putting all those kings and popes and stuff that were on the traditional tarot card. And this one, the devil, same thing with this one. I was like, looked at the original tarot card, and it was like, read a little bit about it. It was like this Baphomet guy, and it's like, oh, that's fun. I'd like to draw Baphomet. And I shrunk the human characters a little, or demonic looking human characters a little bit. I don't know if they're actual humans or just demons or what, because they have horns and weird tails. And the females was made of flowers, and the guys was made of flame. And but yeah, I just pretty much Baphomet and a couple of demons. So this one here is based off, it's like an homage pretty much. Someone requested that I draw this. It was a friend. I normally don't like doing stuff that I don't own the licenses to, but this is like one of my favorite artists, Moebius, did a story with, did several work with Jodorowsky, but this is specifically from a short story he did. I think it originally appeared in Taboo in America anyway. Maybe it was in Heavy Metal, I'm not sure. Called The Eyes of the Cat. And I don't know what that is in French, but it's, so I'm not going to slaughter horrible French to try to translate that. But it's so, I basically just took the 2 main characters of like the hawk or falcon or whatever it is, eagle, that rips the eyes out of this cat, so this blind wizard guy can see through the cat, like its own death, I think, pretty much what happens. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of this guy, Moebius, and so it was like I thought it would be fun to try to like do a little homage to that story and that guy. Rest in peace. So this one is another Prophet drawing. Someone, these actually next 2 are both for the same guy, who wanted me to draw his dog, which he named Prophet, sitting with the character Prophet, which I guess he likes the series and, you know, loved his dog, obviously. So here's I decided to break it up into 2 drawings rather than just using that first one, so I could do more of a portrait. And this is the actual dog here. You can see that's the picture I used for the first drawing. In the second drawing, I used this face, but the first picture's body, and married the 2 up. And this is the finished drawing, and this is the end of the video. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to my Patreon if you want to request your own drawing, or check out the daily drawings on my Instagram. Thanks.